Commissioners. The next item is item number 5, an application for certificate of appropriateness in the Borough of Manhattan at 79 Laight Street, Tribeca North Historic District, docket number 164648, block 217, lot 7501. This 79 Laight Street is a utilitarian-style warehouse built in 1853, and the application is to replace doors.
Good morning, Carousel Landmark staff. 79 Laight Street is located on the south side of the street with West Side Highway to the west and Washington Street to the east. The application is to replace one of 4 sets of entrance doors to the building. The installation of light fixtures and security cameras were already installed. And in 2001, the building was granted a modification of use by the Commission in conjunction with a certificate of appropriateness, which included the approval of the doors in place. And the project team is here to present the application.
Hello, I'm Yumi from Riley Architect. So just to go back, the building was originally a sugar warehouse. Built in 1853, architect unknown. As you can see here, the original ground floor entrances had loading docks, which were very utilitarian, and many of them did not have the arches, which were added later in 2001. And this is the condition of the doors pre-condo conversion. This is the existing. So of the 4 loading docks that were there, one of them is the main entrance to the building. The 2 others are entrances into apartments, and one of them remains a driveway into the cellar. And this is the existing door to the lobby. Across the street are 92 and 88 Laight Street, which are not part of the historic district, but directly across the street. And 78, which is across the street on Laight and West and Washington Streets, is considered a landmark, I believe. But it also has metal entrance doors. And this is just more street context. So our proposal is these are the 4 entrances on Laight Street, and as you can see, there is no consistency even within the approved entrances. So these 2 are apartment entrances that enter directly into the apartment. This is the loading driveway that goes down into the cellar, and this is the entrance to the apartment building, which is right here. So our proposal, so this property was flooded, and as part of the interior renovations that we're undertaking in the lobby, we'd like to replace those entrance doors with a new set of blackened steel metal doors with larger glass lights, using the existing masonry opening and in the same plane as the existing doors, but for more visibility into the lobby. We'd also like to add 2 exterior sconces on either side of the doors and basically replace in kind what is there. So this is the proposed rendering.
Can you explain why?
Why?
Yeah, why? Replace. Are they deteriorated? Are they? And are they
Well, they
original?
did
I was a little unclear on whether they're original.
Oh, these doors? These are not original.
Right.
These were added. These were all changed in, I believe, in 2001 when the building was converted. And so, as part of, since the entire first floor got 3 feet of water, it's completely gutted in the inside, and as part of the lobby renovations, the board has asked us to see.
All right, you noted that, if you go back to the slide, right, that's the one which shows all the doors, you noted that they're inconsistent, or it's true that they're not all the same, but there is a vocabulary that exists in all the doors. So I guess my question is, to me, it seems just awkward to just choose one door and change the way it's treated, and not change the other doors. So I think it goes back to your question.
Yeah.
Like, why are we actually doing this? No.
I guess it's partly because this is a more public entrance to the whole building, whereas these are always blanked out and actually entrances directly off of the street into private residences. And so the condo that occupies the building would like a more public sort of welcoming entrance for their lobby entrance. And I think what we're proposing is somewhat, utilitarian. I mean, in keeping with the sort of black metal posts and railings that are there around the but the light well, the areaway that has been opened up since the original photos that we saw pre-conversion.
Is that image supposed to show mirrored or reflective glass?
No, it's clear
It's
glass.
just-
Yeah, it's just the way it's rendered.
Other questions? Can you just speak a little to how these colors, this approach to the door relates to other fenestration? Because it doesn't relate to the other doors, so how does it relate to the windows?
The other windows in the building are steel casement windows, so they're, when the building was restored, it's a single pane glass, and all of the windows have a double, there's an inner storm window, if you will, that's almost the full depth of the masonry, about 15 inches back. And some of them, I don't know that they're all operable necessarily, but they've been restored to what was sort of historically there, i.e., steel casement windows. And so, I think they're painted a dark brown color currently, but they're not this color either. So, and if you go, we don't know what was originally there when it was being used as a storehouse or warehouse.
There were loading bays, weren't they?
Right.
So they
Right.
maybe not use it.
So, this is what we have as a historic condition. And I believe the door that we're talking about didn't have an arch to begin with. This history.
Okay, other questions? Are there any other questions? All right, are there any speakers on this item? Barbara Say?
Barbara Zay of the Historic Districts Council. The muscular character of this utilitarian storehouse, the oldest storage building in the district, deserves an equally substantial entrance. While some glazing is appropriate on the door, the amount proposed here seems to gussy up the building, creating a too modern juxtaposition. A simple wood door would be more respectful and more appropriate. In a similar vein, the proposed lighting fixtures appear quite residential in their style and not to scale with the building. Our committee also questions the installation of not one but two very large cameras above the entrance and wonders whether a smaller camera installed on the underside of the entrance arch would serve the same purpose without being so heavy-handed. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any more speakers? All right. Do you want to respond to Ms. Say's comments?
Well, I guess we were looking at 415 Greenwich, I believe, which is 3 buildings down further east, which also has sort of a similar fenestration pattern, and it's not just in its retail storefronts, but as part of its building entrances. So we thought contextually, and and we understand it's a warehouse district, and this was one of the warehouse original, or the oldest of the warehouse buildings in the district, but we feel that there is a precedent for this kind of treatment in the neighborhood and on the street.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
there's no black paint on any part of this building, right? The window mullions are all brown, all of the shutters and the doors are milk, sorry?
Oh, I'm sorry. The black tie rods, they're star-shaped tie rods, are black. Facade. And this is, I think.
Tires are blue.
No, they look like they're like blue-gray. Yeah.
Or maybe they're painted.
Yeah, they are blue. It seems an inappropriate door for this building. But
Well, I think that I have concerns about it because I think it just doesn't relate to anything else. And so it's,
If they painted it blue-gray, would that be it? Or is it the style of the door?
painted blue-gray and got rid of the pole and less glazing.
And change the lighting.
Yeah.
I think if you're looking for precedents for this door, you look to this door. I mean, this is,
Well,
I think this is
yeah, but
appropriate
this,
to the building.
it's true, but the door was a modern, all 4 of these openings were treated modernly. They're not historic to the building.
And they're all different, so I think the fact that they're not all going to be the same or even the same materials maybe.
I also think I tend to agree with the testimony about the light fixtures and the cameras as well.
right. Let me just clarify that. Is that, Jared, is that also before us, the light fixtures and the cameras?
The light fixtures and the cameras
Okay, all
are.
right. Oh, it's from there. Okay.
We actually just
Say
saw,
the cameras are there.
Yeah, the cameras are
They've been
pre-existing.
installed without it.
So there's,
Are we legalizing them?
no.
Are they
Asking
done at
to-
staff level? Were
They're
they
asking to-
previously approved?
Yeah, so there's not yet a violation, but they have been installed without permits from us, the cameras.
Okay, so the cameras and the light fixtures have also been installed. They were not
But
previously.
that's a montage. I don't think that they're there yet.
The light fixtures are just a rendering.
Oh, the rendering. You're proposing that.
That's the existing condition.
Right, that's the existing.
All right, so why don't we start off with the first issue, which is we have these changes to the doors were done by the commission before. I think they're different, but there's a certain style to all of them. They may not be historic. I think one question for the commission is, do we believe it's appropriate to change one of the doors from the set in a vocabulary that they're proposing? If we think it's appropriate that they could be some change, then do we think this particular design is appropriate, or should there be something else, which is putting in more, changing the color, material, or the amount of glazing? And I think the other 2 issues have to do with the lighting fixtures and the placement of the cameras. So I just want to hear your comments on that.
Well, if you want to start with the
Yes.
doors.
Okay.
If you look at, the issue for me is that if you look at, the building they used to justify their choice, it's 415 Greenwich.
Yeah.
And the doors on 415 Greenwich are internally consistent with the remainder of the facade. That's why it works. So if you were going to change something on this building, I think that 415 argues for consistency.
I agree. I think that's why this is an issue. It seems there is some consistency, and this door that they propose can reflect a door of another building, but if that building is consistent with all its doors and fenestration, I'm not sure it's an appropriate sort of translation into this particular building.
415 is another kind of building altogether. It's taller. I think it's a later building. So I think sure that's an appropriate model here.
Commissioners, can I also,
Building, red brick.
I also just wanted to mention that this building is subject to an MOU, so it was held to a higher standard in terms of restorative work.
It was restored in 2002 as part of the conversion to residential.
Yes, Diana?
To me, these proposed doors just aren't suitable to the design of the building, and the current ones are more suitable than those. So there should be less, if something needs to be replaced, it should be less glazing, and, I think there should be panels at the bottom. That's my own opinion as far as the light fixtures.
All right, I mean, it seems like the door, I think then the commissioners are supporting this change as appropriate. Okay.
I do.
Oh, okay, all right, sorry.
I mean, I think the color's no good, but, I mean, I think that there's a line to be drawn between aesthetic judgments and historic judgments, and I think that historically this building didn't have a history of there being doors here at all, so this is a modern intrusion. I think it's prettier if they were to keep it consistent, but I don't think from a historic preservation point of view there's a super strong argument for saying that these were consistent, therefore they should be consistent today. I think it's nicer, but I think that if the color were made to match, I'd be okay with the rest.
The only thing I would say to that is that, this was a conversion of the building. There were many things that were done, interventions were done to make the entire package appropriate, and I think it took the designers at that time to choose how to treat what were historically loading docks into another use. And I think a part of that was its design and recalling historic fabric or other motifs in the district. So I think the change from one to the other, without looking at this comprehensively, at least makes me feel that it's I think, somewhat jarring. And even if there was nothing else here and they were looking at different doors, then I think one could think about the color and think about where they're borrowing this particular type of style from. But I think the fact that they're isolating one door really is problematic. All right, just in terms of the light fixtures and the cameras?
Are there other light fixtures on the building, on the other doors?
No.
Nowhere else? Yeah, I mean, if anything, it seems that the fixtures you've selected don't, in addition to being a wrong scale generally on the building, don't even have a relationship with the door you've designed. So it's hard to, I mean, it doesn't suit the building, but it also doesn't suit your own design, it seems.
I agree with that. The scale is wrong and the fixture itself is wrong. And I think the camera should be, as testimony suggested, relocated within the jam.
We also saw last week some cameras by a certain preservation firm that were nicely covered and painted, and
On
they
the
were
Upper
very
East Side.
unobtrusive.
Right. Well, on the security cameras, I think we can ask them to work with staff. So I think one of the options is to place it within the jam, and the other is, if they're going to keep it there, to at least maybe use some kind of matte finish paint, which would allow it to blend. I think the cameras themselves are not oversized. It's that metal that's against the brick. Does that seem reasonable to commissioners? Okay, and the light fixtures, I think the proposed light fixtures don't work.
I don't.
And the idea of lighting the front door, I think, is something that the commission can support. I just think that these light fixtures don't do it.
The hard thing about this building is that it's so solid, it's so heavy and kind of monolithic. Making these little pinpricks just kind of, it saps away some of that energy. So if there were a way to provide the lighting that didn't, that seemed kind of muscular in keeping with the building, that would be good. Maybe uplights in the ground or in the areaway or something.
Or perhaps Fred's idea of the camera being on the jam, you could also put a light fixture on the jam so that you still have that nice
arch
masonry looking at instead of something
Yeah.
broken out.
Is it okay to say that we can ask them to work with staff on the lighting? Okay. So Are there any other comments? Okay, so we can close the hearing. Okay, I think we can say that we do not support the change in the door, and that they would work with staff on the lighting and the cameras. Fine? Okay. Addie, do you want to read that? Oh, sorry, have we, is there anything else?
No action, and we'll bring it back with another door and.
No, I don't think, I think we're, well, that's also,
You should vote to deny this application.
You still have to do, yeah, denial.
no, with the,
Yeah, with,
that's fine too.
if we just leave it open,
I guess the question is that you'd have to come back with a different door design and hearing the comments.
I mean, would a door that, would a proposal that didn't propose replacing all four entrances be considered? I guess that's what I'm not clear on.
If the door design were compatible with the building, this is, I don't think, do we think, well, maybe Michael does, that this is, okay.
I'd certainly go along with that. Other people, want to make it nicer, it's fine.
I think that if the proposal was modified for all the doors to change, we'd probably need to go back to the community board. I think it's a larger project than what they reviewed.
Right, so whatever changes are going to be obviously more substantive and would, is tantamount to being kind of a new application coming before us?
So that's right. So it's either, you could either deny this and they would have to go through the process again, or if you want to leave it open, they could come back with a revised design just for this entranceway.
Or perhaps what we might do is redesign these doors and then propose a different paint color perhaps for the existing doors. But these doors would be redesigned so that they have some vocabulary consistency with the other three entrances.
Question, if we take no action, could the lighting and the cameras be dealt with if they're set up in a non-visible way by the staff or not?
I think there's a possibility of that. We would just have to work with them. We could work with them to figure out an option.
So that's one option if they don't want to go to, that we just take no action.
I think maybe no action might be.
That's fine. Why do we take no action on this then? Is that okay?
And then you can come back if they want more intervention.
Okay.
Yeah.